Okay, I swear I'm here. I was having driver issues. You love to see it. Chair is heavy. Alright. Old man bones, too. Unplugged my microphone by accident as well. Oh, man. We are on a roll here, guys. Yo, what's up, guys? Hello, hello, hello. Oh, yo, Miguel. Thank you for
Late
this.
as usual, lol, and a 6 months of staging.
Late as usual. I started close to 8. You shut your mouth. You shut it. But what was I saying? Oh, this is a new. It's a new kind of stream. I don't really do too many art streams. But also, this one's special, because I'm gonna teach you, yes, you, how to draw! At least to the best of my ability. Hello everyone. Hey Ricky, Talon, Farron, Miguel, Drippy. We got Prue as well. I don't know if she's still here, but it's the big stink. The scuff is real. Yeah, guys, I set up my monitor tablet for you guys, so we're not doing iPad today. So it's like good quality, you know. There's something on my tablet. What is this? Oh well. I mean, it's not affecting anything, but funny barista lady, it's me. Oh, I want to show you guys this real quick. I made a new chatting overlay, and I want to show you guys. I know we're not doing like physical 2D VTuber today, because honestly I don't have the room with my camera, but look, it's me. I hope this looks cool and epic. You guys like? I hope this looks epic. Obviously this will look a lot better with my actual like VTuber and stuff, but... And there's Little Man! Remember, you could say things as the Little Man. It should be working. We will hope for the best. I was gonna say, I could try before anybody wastes points. Hold on. No one wastes points. I'll do it. If I can find it. Where is it? Oh, I turned it off. Hold on. That's why. Because the one stream, I turned it off because it wasn't working. Where is it? Where is it? Okay. No, it should be. There it is. Okay. Let me test it. Oh, he didn't say anything. Damn, he didn't say Yamada. That's tragic. He's shy. He might be. Let's try again. I was messing around with it the other day, so it might still be messed up from when I was messing around with it. He might still be broken. I think I might have fucked it up too much. Oh yeah, I fucked it up way too much. That is so unfortunate. Cause, oh my god.
Yeah, baby!
Jesus.
That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
Good lord. I'm gonna pause the music real quick, because I think this might be the issue, is that the music is also going through the same audio device, and so we'll try one more time. If it doesn't work, we'll just get along and moving. Okay, it's not that. Huh. Alright, well, Ollie is out of decommission again. Very unfortunate, but he is with us in spirit. I will start the music. Alright, guys. But yeah, I hope you guys liked the new just chatting screen. I made it myself. It's not animated. I'll probably see if I can get it animated. Make the bubbles go up or something. Who knows? I don't know. I thought the bubbles were cute. I don't know. Alright. Get on moving. The scuff is so real. Dude, my streams are always scuffed, let's be honest. There's always something not working. That's the thing. There's always one thing not working. And normally it's like everything. But I'm good, by the way, Miguel. I'm good. I'm chilling. Arc sign. Hello! Screedies! My friend! Hello! Yeah, I kind of had to stop doing YouTube for a bit, bro. I've missed you. I hope you're doing well, Screedies. That's good. Thank you, thank you. Alright, guys. We're gaming now. We're gonna get into the zone. I hope you guys have brought your pen and pencils and paper or your drawing program of choice. Colleague. I feel colleague. Me too, buddy, me too. It's a struggle out here. But right. So, for those who are here and do not know what's going on, I will be teaching some I brought nothing. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's my mod. Amazing. But, I will be teaching some art basics for those who have asked. Depending on how far we get, this might be a two-parter, who knows? We do like to get sidetracked. But yeah, so, let's see, I brought noodles. Oh, Lord. My compass and protractor in question. I mean, you used them to draw, technically, so you're not wrong. But yes, I hope everyone has brought something that they want to draw with if they are interested in learning some basics. If you guys just want to watch, that's also more than welcome. If you guys want the stream uploaded in the future, let me know. I can hit record right now if you guys want this to be like uploaded onto YouTube for your future use. It's totally up to you. Or I could just take the stream recording. It is what it is. But yeah. So let's see. Well, we're gonna start with pretty much basics. We're gonna do figure drawing today. So it's pretty much just gonna be like people. I can get into a little bit of other complicated stuff, but I think for today we're gonna focus on people. Must go. Nah, you good, bro. I appreciate you coming by again, dude. I miss you, and good luck with college, man. I don't know when the next time it is I will see you, but I wish you very good luck. And I hope to see you again. But yeah, so we're gonna start with, just faces, and then we'll go from there. We'll, like, work our way, like, down the body, I suppose. I know someone suggested hands, so we'll try to focus more on hands. But we're gonna do, like, face shape, hair, eyes, and hands. We can do all of those. Any of the coloring stuff we can try and touch today on those specific parts. I know someone wanted blending, shading, coloring. So don't worry, we will touch base on everything eventually. Whether it's tonight, I have no idea. But we will try. I'm gonna try not to go too late tonight, but if we're on a good roll, and everyone's, you know, not killing themselves yet, then we will. It'll happen. Okay. Okay. My plus button isn't working. That's very epic. Okay. So. Hello? Okay, awesome. We're already off to a great start with my... There we go. Okay, my nib in my pen wasn't down all the way. That's why it wasn't working. Okay, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, please. We just started and I can't get anything to work. This is fantastic. Okay, so we're gonna start with faces, and I'm trying to remember. We're just gonna use the pencil. If you guys are using any sort of drawing program like I am, this is Paint Tool SAI version 2. This is the free version right now because I couldn't be bothered to put in my code. But you can get this for free. It does have certain features locked because it is free. You will have to purchase a license eventually, but for a free version, you do get quite a bit of stuff. The basics, honestly, pretty much anything you'll need if you're not too advanced. They do give you a text tool on this one as well, so you don't have to pay for Photoshop. And then there's also things like Procreate, what is it called? It's called, I think it's literally just called Paintbrush. And then there's, Gib, or Gip, I don't remember what it's called. Hold on. Everyone used to use it. It's like, art program. Gib. What is it? Not Gib. GIMP. GIMP. That is another free drawing program you guys can... Thank you, Tyler. Yeah, GIMP. That is another free drawing program if you guys don't have one as well. I will love you forever if it's on YouTube. Oh yeah, I can definitely upload this to YouTube. I got you. Oh. See if I can... Okay. So I will just take the Twitch recording and upload it because it looks like I can't mess with the save settings while I'm live, and I kind of don't want to stop and restart. So it'll be mediocre quality, but at least it'll have slight visuals. But okay. So grab your pen of choice. I usually use a pencil, small tip, so anywhere that kind of just gets you a sketchy feel of a real pencil. So honestly, I draw thicker lines, so I use like anywhere between 5 and 7 depending on the canvas size. This is really big, so the pen doesn't look as big, but if you were to use a smaller canvas, like let's say like 900 by 500, my 7 pen looks pretty damn big now, see? And then compared it to this 3000 by 2000, it looks pretty small. So you can see how smaller canvas will thicken your brush because you have less room. So after that, I don't remember if my... Oh, is it not set? Oh, it is. So after that, we will have that set. And again, this is just trying to get you guys started if you're using a program. If you're using paper, even better, because you have one thing to work with. Okay, so starting with head shapes. The best way to start drawing a head shape is always with a circle. You always see artists doing this. And it's pretty much just to draw a rough circle. It does not have to be perfect whatsoever, okay? I want to make that very clear. It does not have to be perfect whatsoever. I'm gonna see, how do I make this bigger? Freeform, resize. Awesome. So I'm just gonna make it bigger so then everyone can see. Perfect. So you'll make a head shape, past be a circle or an oval, depending on whatever you want to do. I use a circle, but some people use ovals. It's no big deal. And then another good tip is to kind of draw out a, what's the word? Kind of like a map, like a diagram, or graph, I guess is the best word. It has to be a circle. But basically you'll section the face in a couple different squares. So let's say we're having the angle face this way, right? So they're looking to the right. So you would draw, you would draw a slight curved line that's bending towards the right. I did not draw a good line, but it doesn't matter. Again, this is your sketch. And normally, unless they're looking up, if they're looking right and up, you'll draw another curved line curving upwards. So their eyes would be looking up. If you're drawing to the right and down, you'll draw it curving down. So they'll be looking down. And then if you're literally just drawing looking to the right, you'll just draw a straight line. So we're gonna just do straight line right now, but I will draw the different options over here as well, just for anyone's reference, because I did go kind of fast. So if you're looking up, it'll be to the right and up. And if you want to look down, it'll be curved down. It's kind of easy to remember. You'll get the hang of it, obviously, the more you go. But pretty much you're just using that curve as the guideline. So your eyes necessarily won't follow onto here, but it can if that's your preferred style. Some artists will do a thing where they section it off completely. So for this one, their eyes would be in here. And artists use that as their guideline, and then they draw another one for, let's just say, the mouth. And that's kind of where they go from there. Personally, I just kind of do the one line, the one curve. You don't have to make it, you don't have to make it too complicated for yourself, honestly. It's totally up to you. So for my method, I just do the one line, and I either draw right in the center of it, depending on like the angle. So for this one, we're just gonna do looking straight to the right, and our eyes will be in this position. But first, before we get ahead of ourselves with the eyes, we're gonna do the actual face shape. So if you're on a digital program, we're gonna lower the opacity so we have a basic, like tracing sketch. And no, this is not cheating. You're tracing your own work. You have drawn this own circle of yours. Okay. So we're gonna work with our circle here. So the best thing for looking to the right is you're going to kind of make a curved line towards this bottom line down here. Now, like I said, this doesn't have to be perfect. This is a sketch. We'll refine it later. But a good way to start is to draw a small line down here. If it is a male shape, it's good to draw a line. And if it's a female, I recommend a dot. The females have, softer features, so they don't really have too much of a flat chin. Of course, if you're drawing a character who might be like transgender or something, and you want to show like different kinds of features to show like their transition or anything like that, or if they're non-binary, pick and choose which way you would like. It's totally up to you. That's like the best thing. So we're gonna do a female right now. So we're gonna put the dot not totally at the bottom. For female face shapes, we kind of want to keep everything a lot shorter and a little bit more round. Of course, this is more of an anime style, so please take this with some sort of grain of salt. And basically we're gonna draw two lines that are, is it perpendicular? Parallel parallel to each other on both sides of this circle. These do not have to be at your far-reaching ends of the circle. This can be as wide as you want the head shape to be. So preferably within the inner circle, or if you do need it a little bit bigger, you can go on the outside of your circle. And from there, we will start curving it down slightly to the dot that we have made. And of course, you know, different features will have a little bit of a different method. If you want like more of a chiseled face, we could do something like this, where since they are facing right, we can kind of curve and make a little indent. Of course, you know, it looks a bit strange, but you know, it might look good for somebody. This would be more of a harder angle to the right. So for this physical direction, I would not recommend a chiseled feature for that, but just for future reference. We will get there eventually. So for here, so now we have our basic face shape. And if you want, you can close the circle off to kind of give you a guide of where the top of the head is. And that can give you a good guide for where you're gonna have your hair. From here, we know our basic line for eyes is gonna be about here. It's always a good point for me. I usually start with the eyes, but I believe it would be best for guide if I draw the ear, which for me is just a simple circle. I don't do anything crazy. I don't like super detailed ears. It makes me feel a little weird, but so knowing where your basic line is for eyes, let's just say it's here. It's a little above where we drew on the sketch. It's okay. It's basically starting at the top of the eye. So the eye would start here basically. So when we draw the eyes, oh, sorry. They'll be somewhere around there. And your tip of your ear is gonna be just about there. So it'll be around there. I know this is a super small ear, but I also realized that this drawing is massively zoomed in, so take everything with a grain of salt. I'm not used to drawing so zoomed in. So, okay. So the tip of the ear is gonna match the top part of the eye, where the eyelashes would be. And then from there, we can use that guideline to draw everything else. So, let me erase this terrible line. And we will now use our guideline to draw the eyes, which is quite difficult. If we are drawing anime typical eyes, I usually like to get a super rough shape down. So for female features, it's a little bit more round. We can do, oh, my sensitivity is not high enough. Holy. Okay. So for her, we can do a more of a rounded eye. So this will be the top of the eye, pretty much. And you can have it thick, you can have it thin. This is all preferable. But what some people like to do is they have a thicker outside right here. And this is where some people will draw the eyelashes, maybe one in the front. And then for the bottom of the eye, some people just like to draw a little curved line. You can draw a line itself, or you can just leave it alone. You don't have to. It's all preferred on style. And then for the actual eye, you just draw a fun little circle. It can be an actual circle, it can be an oval like this. My eyes are usually ovals. I know these are like super unproportioned in terms of size of the actual head, so do forgive me. I'm not used to drawing so zoomed in. Ugh. Now you can cheat if this is still super hard for you. Like if you're not confident. So what you can do is you can select your eye that you just did, and you can copy and paste. There's nothing wrong with that. That is what I used to do all the time. So now we have our second eye. Obviously that looks, it kind of works, but we try not to do that. But if you want to, there's no harm in that. But what we would do here is that we would pick, we would select it, and then we would flip horizontal. Now it looks derpy as shit, I know, but it's funny. It's really funny. That's the best part, you get to look at it really funny. So we'll just erase it. My brush is super blurred. I don't know why. But that just helps you get the same shape of the eye right here. So like if you have a hard time copying it, it's okay, you know. I always have a hard time actually copying things too, so. And then you just redraw your circle however you want. Remembering that eyes are also a thing I should really get back to practicing. Only question is how I can flip my image on IRL paper. Yeah, so if you are drawing IRL paper, it is definitely going to be harder. You'll get the motion down eventually. Another way to help is like starting with geometrical eyes more. So if you're doing more of circles, eventually you'll be able to kind of mimic the same movement. Circles are a lot easier. I would start with the left eye because look how much better that one looks. Whereas the right eye looks a little bit stranger. But I would start doing with circle eyes rather than, let's say, like more rectangle. That one's super easy, but when you're doing the details later, it's gonna get a little bit more difficult. Doing slightly other eyes, maybe diamond eyes, it does get a bit more difficult. Again, these are super simple examples, but that might be the best for you trying to mirror on actual paper. But I do suggest maybe the circles. Okay. Where did I leave off? Ah, yes, eyes. So for this one, we'll add the bottom eyelash as well. Again, you do not have to. This is just how I do it. I add little eyelashes at the bottom, just a style I have. And then from here, we're gonna use the middle guideline to mark where the nose would be. So the nose usually comes about halfway down towards the cheek area right here. So you would pretty much just draw like a nice little rounded wave like that. It wouldn't be a triangle. You could do a triangle if that is your style. That's what Animal Crossing does. No harm in that. It's really hard when like you don't know people's like preferred style, see? But a more anime way of doing it is starting with a wave, kind of like that. Obviously, it would be kind of like that. It would be horizontal, not or vertical, I'm sorry, not horizontal. And then if you want to get some definition, you would color shadow this part on the right side, right here. So it wouldn't look like that, but when you do the coloring, that's where you'll have the shadow. If you want a more defined nose, you'll draw the whole shape. So you'll do the whole nose. But if you want more of a small, petite, like button nose or anything, you would just do the small shape at the bottom. So it'd just be like that. Don't mind that. That was just out of habit. But you'll do a smaller nose. So if you want more definition, you'll draw the bridge of the nose. If you don't want more definition to the nose, you'll just draw the bottom part. Yes. Eyebrows. Very easy. I draw the crease of the eye right above the eyelash. That's just what I do. You do not have to. And then for eyebrows, I just take the easy way and I just draw two lines that eventually connect at a point. And it takes up pretty much the length of the entire eye. So you'll have it start right at the edge of the eye here. And then it'll end pretty much at the width of the eye at the other side. So you don't want it going too far unless your character has super big eyebrows, bushy eyebrows, or like, unless that's the character in its entirety. Or let's say they have small eyebrows. You know, you would draw smaller eyebrows, like some people. Some characters, like anime characters, will have the small eyebrows, which also works. You can disregard the, you know, width, end to end of the eye. Again, it all depends on who you're drawing or what you're drawing. I'm gonna have to make up this assignment later. I have calc homework to do. No, you're fine, bro. Literally not a problem. Real homework is more than this, so you're totally okay. But yeah. So eyebrows, you know, depending on what you do. You know, it could just be as simple as this. It could be as simple as maybe doing a thicker one. It all depends on the character. But we will go with this simple one. And then placement is pretty self-explanatory. Higher is more like surprised, curious. Lower could be more angry or sad. And then, you know, pretty, like about here would be, you know, a normal expression. So higher is more surprised, lower is more sad, angry. Or if you just want to do the typical very pissed, you know, that's always a fun one because it's super easy. Okay, so now mouths, honestly, something that I kind of just mess with around myself like a lot. I wouldn't say I'm perfect with it, but I would say that it's pretty simple. Like if you just kind of want to run with the same mouth for a while, I honestly think there's nothing wrong with that because we all have to start from somewhere. We all get same face syndrome from somewhere in something. I still have it kind of, so. But yeah, so a more anime styled mouth, you know, you would start with one end and kind of just do a small curve, you know, as you would do in a normal little picture. I like to add a little thicker end, so it kind of looks like a drop, a long drop. You know, kind of like that. Like a little raindrop. But it would taper thinner at the point. So, like that. Something like that. You don't have to, you could always just draw a line. I don't know how, but I got a perfect 100 on my last quiz. First exam is Wednesday. I want to try and see if I can do as good. I feel motivated? That's good. I believe in you myself. It'd be pretty epic. And then for the other side of the mouth, if we're doing a closed mouth, it'll just be the same thing but longer. You know, I have an easier time flipping the canvas at this point if I need to do the other side of the mouth. Of course, if that's on digital. If we're doing like an open mouth, it's a little different depending on what expression you would want. Honestly, I feel like mouths, you can be pretty malleable with like what you want. So if we wanted a more talking one, we could do just a basic open mouth. I like to kind of just keep it simple. So if they're talking, you can kind of just draw like a nice wave-like pattern and then curve it back down to define the other side of the mouth. And then you could round it back out, or if you want it more straight, you're more than welcome to do so. I believe a rounded out would be a little bit better. And right here, I would just show the tongue. I really wouldn't show the teeth. It looks a bit strange in my style. But if anything, maybe just a little bit. Just have the tip of the teeth showing. I'm not too much of a fan of bottom ones. It just looks a bit strange. I kind of just do the top one if I want to show that sort of different definition or feature. If we want to try a different sort of mouth, like a smiling happy one, copy the same thing we did for just the normal smile. We're gonna have it a little bit higher this time though. So we'll do the teardrop on one side, and then we'll do the teardrop on the other. And we'll do a line, diagonal line down again, and we'll curve halfway, or about almost a little more than halfway, almost connecting to our horizontal line. So you'll leave a little bit of room. Now, depending on if you want it open or closed is totally up to you. If you want it closed, I recommend kind of doing a small curve like that, like this, to show the separation of teeth. Same thing over on the left side now. Shade in just a little corner and then just draw a slightly thinner curved line inside as well, to kind of show where the teeth are going to meet eventually. You can draw another line in the middle if you want to make more definition. You do not have to. But this would be fine. Just the 2 lines on either side. Both of them curving in towards the middle, just like the bottom. If we would want it open, a little more different, we would draw the teeth then here, and I like to just do a curve. And then basically we would do the same thing as the other thing, just show the tongue. Over here we would add a little bit of a corner, if you would like. I actually think it would probably look best without one. Yeah. So you'll kind of merge the 2 mouths that we did together. So you'll add the teeth and the tongue, and then keep the shape. So you'll have these parts open. You can also connect them if that looks better to you. You don't have to. Looks better to me without it. And then lastly, we're gonna add the bottom lip, which is just a fun little curve. That's it. And the best thing about digital art is that if it's in the weird spot, you can just move it. That's the best part about this. So for placement of the mouth, it'll be, at least if you want to just gauge kind of what this looks like between the mouth and the top lip, about 1 inch. Give or take the size of your canvas. You don't want it too close to the cheek area, again depending on your angle, but for this one it won't be anywhere close to the cheek area. You can see as I chip away at some of it because it's really rough, that it's not that close. It's also like maybe 1 inch away from the cheek. Trying to think. Okay. So if it's better for you to visualize this as a grid as well, which for a lot of people I know it is, an easy grid for this would be, you have your head shape, right? You're making your grid, so you'll curve your line down the middle to separate sides of the face. You will draw your center line. Oops, sorry. You will draw your center line, which will be the tip of the ear, your tops of your eyes, and then you can also draw one at the bottom for the eyes as well. This will be about a good, I'm trying to think, like a nice, you would pretty much just draw a square. So make sure, you know, it's a square, not a rectangle. I'm trying to like measurement this, 2 inches or so, or if it's by an actual inch, this would be like if your canvas was in inches, but like 8.5 by 11, this would be an actual inch. And then for where your mouth would be, dependent on open or close, this would be a little bit further down. So the gap between the bottom of the eye and where the mouth would go would be a little bit wider than where the eyes are. So this is what your grid would look like in the end, essentially. So as long as your eyes are in between your 2 top ones, and your mouth is in the middle of this bottom one, the grid of your face, it should be epic. Not very technological terms, but this is probably the easiest way for people to visualize the face shape. So pretty much the only things to keep in mind that are super important is, at least in my opinion, is Tip of the ear will touch the very top line, so right here. And the eyes will be in the middle of the two lines, highest on the face. You don't want those to go above too much of the line or too below too much of the line, because then the eyes will look way too big, way too elongated. And wideness really just depends on the angle as well. So since we're facing more to the right, the eyes are going to be shifted way over to the right. You'll be able to see, once you start drawing it yourself, kind of where a comfortable placement would be. You can, trust me, you'll be able to see if it looks a bit derpy or not. At that point, it's pretty much just trial and error trying to figure out placement. It's pretty hard to kind of teach accurate placement, because if another artist looked at my sheet right now, they would be like, yeah, I don't think where the eyes are quite correct on hers. They would maybe say move it closer, they would maybe say move it back more, who knows. So like, it's all interpretational, but honestly, me looking at this, I think moving it a little bit closer is much better. So you can see how it kind of makes the angle a little bit more defined that she is looking towards the right. Another thing I would change is probably the ear. I kind of goofed on this, I'm gonna be honest. I don't draw on such a big canvas, to be honest, so this is a little bit newer towards me. And then I would actually define the jaw just a little bit more. And meeting the head, you know, it defines later. You'll see where you can kind of etch and shape things better when you edit certain parts if you think it needs to be edited. And then I actually would bring this a little bit more towards the rest. So I think I made the head a little too wide. About there. Of course, if you are on traditional pen and pencil and paper, this will have to be done with a bunch of erasing, but this is why it's good if you are using pencil and paper. Well, one, always start with pencil and paper. I don't recommend starting with pen. It's very difficult, again, because you can't erase it. I believe a good pencil to invest in it's pretty cheap. I did not mean for that to come up on here. I think it's a B2 pen or a 2B pencil. It's, let me just double check. Okay, I lied. It's it's a 2H pencil. Like 2 and then the letter H. A 2H pencil is a super light sketch pencil. Does not come with an eraser on the top, so just be aware that you would need a brick eraser. But it sketches super light, so it's really easy to go over with a harder grained pencil or a pen or a marker without seeing it too much. And then erasing it is really easy too, because again, it's a lighter lead that comes out. Or graphite, I should say. It's a lighter graphite that comes out on your paper, so I would recommend a 2H pencil. The higher the number gets, so if you got a 4H or a 6H, the lighter it would be, but the more thin the pencil would be, so be aware. The lower you go, essentially, you'll get into B pencils, so you'll have a 2B pencil, a 4B pencil, and so on. Those are the more thicker and darker graphite pencils. So if you do want a thicker, darker pencil to, let's say, outline in, or to even sketch in if that's what you most prefer, get the B labeled pencils. If you want a lighter pencil for shading, and then you'll get a darker pencil later, I recommend the H lettered pencils. These could be easily found on like Amazon or your closest art store like Michael's Arts and Crafts or Hobby Lobby and stuff. They're pretty much everywhere. You'll find them just fine, I promise. Also Amazon. Amazon's everyone's best friend, so you could probably buy a whole variety pack on Amazon and in art stores, but I highly recommend those pencils if you're drawing a more traditional stuff, like on paper. I'm sorry. So yeah, I'll write it I'll write it right here. So I recommend a 2H pencil. This is what you want. This is what you want. This. You would want a 2H. It's a very epic pencil. I would, yeah. Recommend that definitely for sketching. It's super easy. Okay. So, enough with that. I'm like trying to make sure I touch on traditional along with digital because I know some people don't have access to like a good computer that can access these programs, or like don't have the ability to download these programs or things like that. But if you are using a program, then you have a slightly easier time than most people, which is epic. So I'm gonna just fix up the shape a little more. And then we can get started on the hair. I will just do a basic hairstyle, nothing too crazy. I'm gonna do his eyes, eyeballs. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out. Down. Okay. So what I like to do from here is I would actually sketch out the neck. So because she's looking to the right, we're going to have the neck kind of start behind a little tiniest bit. Oh wait, shit. I lied. Don't do that. Don't do that. I lied. See, even I don't know what's happening half the time. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Okay. So she's looking a bit more to the right, so what I would do is that the neck shape, I'll kind of just play around with it just to see like where I'm feeling the neck. And typically this is way too thick of a neck for a woman. So we'll try to bring it in a little bit more towards the chin. And again, depending on your style, maybe she has more of a thick neck, maybe she doesn't. Too late, my sketch Dream Girl's neck is 10 inches wide. That's literally insane. That is a little scary. I'm like, I feel like I'm under pressure now because I have to try and make this look good. And I'm like actually struggling a little bit for some reason. Because I'm under pressure. It's like trying to remember how to draw because I just kind of do it. I genuinely think it's because the head shape's kind of fucked for me, personally, so my brain's like, you gotta redo everything. This drawing sucks. Okay, there we go. So, for this angle, you'll have the line of the neck connecting to the bottom point of the ear over here on the left. And the other side of the neck, you're gonna draw a straight line down a little bit after the chin. So the back part of the neck is gonna be curved inward slightly. The front of the neck, that's by the chin, is gonna be straight down. When you do this, you're going to slightly slope. What did I just get rid of? You're gonna slightly slope the front of the neck that's straight, outwards to create where the shoulder will be. The same thing will apply to the back. You'll start sloping this out more towards the left to create the shoulder line and like the collarbone, etc. So we're gonna stop there on the neck at least, and then we're gonna go towards the hair. The hair's probably the most fun you'll have. You can pretty much make any shape. You could go crazy with just curves and loops. It is literally whatever you want it to be. You just make shapes, you know? Like that, not bad. And then you can refine it. Remember, this is a sketch layer. We are just sketching what we want to define. But there can be a ton of different hairstyles. Like for my VTuber, she has the little akigao top, and then I have it kind of curved back. And then we have, you know, the bangs and such, but we're gonna do a different hairstyle. I'm gonna have to move to a pencil. God. So let's do a pretty generic hairstyle, which is slightly curly, you know, I guess a pretty generic hairstyle for like, I guess what you would say beginners, because it's like really fun and flowy. It's not super hard lines with details. In my style, I don't do like, you know, every strand, you know, I don't do a lot of those details where like you'll see like multiple like strands just kind of hanging out. I do a very blocky hairstyle. Again, that's just how my art is. I do like thick and more defined shapes than most people. That's just how my style has been over the years. So I have trouble with the hair more than anything else, not gonna lie. No, that's totally fair. I understand. No pressure, even you already knew what to correct before I realized anything was off. It all comes with time. This is all just time-based, which is unfortunate. The more you practice, you'll be better and better, honestly. A good tip for like later, once you kind of get this little session down, is just redraw the same thing over and over again until it looks about right with you. So you would draw, let's just say you draw this face like 5 times. You'll draw like another one next to it and another one next to it and so on and so forth. Repetition is literally key here. So once you get something down, just keep copying it until you feel comfortable, and then move on to your next thing that you would want to like focus on. So let's say hair. Draw a different hairstyle and then draw it again and try to refine it a little bit more to your liking, and then draw it again and then continue that. Same thing with eyes. Keep drawing it again, draw it again, draw it again. That is probably the most efficient way of trying to get better, because it's muscle memory in your hand. Lauren, how do you draw a straight line? Fuck. I fucked up. I don't know, Hugh. As an artist, I cannot draw a straight line. It's very funny. Thank God Procreate does it for me. But yeah, so let's just do a simple hairstyle. We'll do a flowy, you know, slightly curly hairstyle for her. So the reason why we sculpted out where the top of the head is, even though it's not completely like, you know, round and oval like an actual noggin, we just do it for a guide. So this won't be here when we're done. But you want to start pretty close to where your headline either finished or wherever you have it. And then from there, we'll draw an indent for the part, pretty much is what I do, where the hair parts. So if you have a side part, a middle part, or guess no part at all, it's a little bit different for that one. We'll get there. But if you have a side part of any part, pick what side it is. So if it's left, it'll be over here. If it's right, it'll be over here. And if it's in the middle part, it'll be right where we draw our middle guideline. So for ease sake, we'll start with the left. We'll start with the left. Technically, the character's right. If we were them, it would be their right. And from there, you pretty much, it's nice to have a line. I draw a little indent for where the hair would separate throughout the rest of the head. And from there, I would determine how curly and flowy their hair is. If we want it pretty tame and not so curly, I would just kind of round it out to the skull. Same thing with the back. We'll round it towards her head. And then for when we get closer to the bottom, I'll start curling it down. And I won't have these like super high curls. I'll have them super like loose and rested. So they'll be more down shaped instead of swooped. Is this the fucking Skype ringtone? Hold on. I just shit myself. Okay, I gotta skip this, I'm sorry. It just gave me mad PTSD to Skype because it actually uses the Skype ring in the song. Oh. Can you make floofy hair? I can. We will do that next. We're gonna do with Pretty Tame right now. But yeah, so that's start of the hair. I wouldn't start with the back more so. I would actually start with the bangs. It's a little bit more easier for me, but we'll keep that. The top is gonna be pretty smooth. Lo-fi Discord notification. No. But yes, for the bangs, if they have bangs, of course, they'll have, since they have a part, it'll be parted up here as well. I like to do a bit of a V where the line comes from. And depending on which way you want it to go, it can go to the right, it can go to the left. It's totally up to you. We're gonna go to the right. We're gonna make it a little bit different. So you'll do a curve and have it come just above the eye. It can either, depending on how long you want it, it can be above the eye crease, it can be below the eye crease. If you want it covering the eye, you can bring it down really far. Dependent on you. We're gonna bring it above the eye crease and just kind of curve it again like a nice graph and just make a nice triangle out of it. You can bring it up as high as you want, depending on where you would want it. And then we're not gonna start up here at the top where we ended. We're gonna bring it down a little bit and do another curve and then just do the same thing. Now to get a little bit more definition, I would vary it and do basically one going the opposite direction. So we're gonna come down a little bit again and then do a curve the opposite direction and then bring it back up. And then on the other side, we're gonna keep going in the right direction. So you're gonna curve to the right and then come back up on the left side, bring it back down and just do the same thing again. And then when you come over to the ear, we're gonna do a bit of a longer piece. So we'll have it come down maybe towards almost to the bottom, towards the chin, and kind of swoop it in. Now, when you do to one side, you have to do the other. So her hair kind of pokes out enough of her face that you don't need it coming out from over here. We'll have it coming from behind the head a little bit. And it's not too defined, so we'll just do a little bit exposed. And then for up here, by where the crease parting of her head is, you're just gonna connect these lines. If you want a little bit more detail when you do it, since this is close enough, you're just gonna connect this and make a small triangle. For this side, since it's a little bit more drawn out, you're just gonna do another one of those like waves, but upside down. This is basically different strands of hair, and it's kind of just to show like where the different I guess partings are is what you would call it. Can't even remember the difference between Skype and Discord notification. Oh god, that's terrible. You're so right. But for this one, it's kind of, you don't have to because it's so, close. So you could leave it or you could have it like I did. We're gonna leave it. It looks a little bit better just because it's a bit more flat down than it is up high, like if I had it super up high. So for the rest of the hair, once we've done the bangs, we'll finish the rest of the hair. So when we work on the back, we're gonna have her hair down, and then I could do a ponytail one as well, which I know, I don't know if Ame's here, but I know he was saying that, or they were saying, I'm sorry, they were saying that they had trouble with the back of the hair. So for longer hair, for her, it's pretty easy. We'll just kind of go down straighter than towards into the head and curl slightly till we have the curl that we want for the hair, and then end it out. And then what I would do is draw a nice loose S and do it again, curve it out. And from there, we can kind of either bring it in if that's the hair length that she has, or we can curve it out again, which I would do another S and curve it back. And then once you get to the neck, you could just kind of curve it in if you would like. You can do another curve that looks like it's gonna start to do another curl. If it's longer than this, I would just recommend curving towards the neckline, and then it kind of gives the illusion that the hair keeps going longer. So we'll do long hair for this example. From here, when we have our first curl, I would do a backwards S and kind of bring it out again. I would do a curve and do a slightly more curled curve. And then from here, I would just do another curve again. So we can kind of copy the other side. And then this would bring us to the shoulder height again. So that's for a more relaxed curl. Like a wavy look if you wanted to do it like that. That's at least how I would do wavy hair, is slight curls but not too crazy. If we wanted to do more of a ponytail, we would have this back part curve into the head right here at the ear, pretty much. It would kind of look like this. You don't want it too close into the head, like where this strand next to the ear is. You don't want it too far in. You don't want it like, this, if that makes sense. You don't want it jutting into the head. You want a curve that goes gently into the ear. I usually use reference as to the middle of the curve of the ear. And then we'll have it meet up to the neck down here. And you'll have like a little triangle essentially. And if you want, you can add little tufts of hair at the back if maybe they have some little baby hairs from the ponytail or what have you. And then for the ponytail, I will just do mine because it's super biased and super wavy. We can draw a hairband, which will just do a small little curve. Or you could do hair, like if like, I know one trend is like people will wrap their hair around their hair. In that case, you would do kind of like a curved triangle. But we're just gonna do a hair tie for now, because that's like the easiest. So you do a thin little, like, half curve. Draw the one that would be closer to the head. And then for the ponytail, you can add this little thing that I do on my VTuber. You don't have to. It probably would be better if you did not. I just like to be extra and just add that. But you'll pretty much just draw any sort of curve that you want at this point. We can have it curled because her hair was slightly curled. I like to do a lot more dramatic, bigger curls for ponytails just because it's a lot of free real estate that you can kind of just go along with. And then like you can pretty much just do whatever. So you could have something like that. You could do a more straight ponytail where you can just have it go down. You can have it as one thing, you can have it as slightly more defined, you could have an extra piece coming out where you would erase to give it a little bit more volume. It's totally up to you. This is probably the most flexible area I feel of art. Is funny enough, the hair, you could literally do anything. It's all about just like flow. So you just, honestly, the best way to describe it is just let your hand flow into a movement, make a random shape, and then you would be able to pretty much just draw whatever hairstyle you would want. It can be super easy. If you wanted like a small ponytail too, that's really easy, like a really short one. Yo, what's up, Rambo? I'm good. I'm just teaching some art, dog, to my guys. We're right now in the middle of doing hair. How are you? A small ponytail, I would start with a nice pointed curve. And then from there, again, you can do pretty much whatever shape you would want. So if you want it more fiery, you could do just a bunch of different like pointed curves. And then what I would do to bring it back to the bottom here is pretty much just draw one more curve and then S back to the bottom. So then you have like a super short hair ponytail. And it's good to keep in mind that even though you have like a hairband or whatever you want here, or like let's say a bow, it's okay to go past it to add more, like let's just say it's volume of the hair, like poofy and stuff. I just woke up, a lot going on. I feel. That's be life, bro. That be life. And then of course this small ponytail could translate into like a slightly longer ponytail if you would like. Literally could do anything. We'll do the medium-sized ponytail. We'll keep that. So that is your face, eyes, and hair. We can go more into eyes. So I'll use this example that we had earlier. I'm gonna zoom in. So now for eyes, if you're doing a digital program, I like to go with a smaller brush, especially when sketching. Just because then I can super sketch like the defined shape and then go in later and kind of define where I want exact things. So I should get my drawing pad back up and running. Dude, what are you doing just sitting there? I expect you to be drawing with me. No, I'm kidding. It's totally fine. A class in college made me get a $25 one and we never used it. Oh my god. I felt that though, because that was like all of my art classes. We bought, in my... What class was it? It was like a 2D drawing class, I think. But we bought gouaches, which are really, really expensive fucking paints. And a pack of four ounces, maybe even, I don't even know, maybe 3 ounces, was like $40 or something. It was something ridiculous. And it just came with like red, blue, green and white or something, and like that was it. And of course like we had to buy black and white as well, and it was just absolutely fucking stupid. I'm so dead. Work week rough. I just want a Zelda game. Then just Zelda game, dude. Just chill. Oh god. Alright, hold on. I need a drink of water. chatting up a storm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's some water right there. Ooh. Okay. So getting into eyes now, not too bad. Honestly, eyes are pretty easy, in my opinion. It's kind of just mirroring the shape that's the hardest part, in my honest opinion. So if we want to draw eyes, let's just say we're doing it head on. Apply directly to the forehead. So we're going to be looking straight at the camera. So we have our grid, our rough grid set up for the head, right? Let's just ignore the sketch layer, by the way. So we have our grid for the head, and then we can just draw like a very bullshit head. And we want to draw our eyes. So depending on how we want to do our character, let's say they have soft eyes. We will use this and make it lighter. I will draw on this layer. So for softer, rounder eyes, you're just gonna follow the normal geometric circle. You do a half circle on top. You can bring it back more down if you would like, but just draw a half circle on top. It doesn't have to be the same length on one side. I actually would recommend the one side that's closer to the nose to be a little shorter. And then from there, we can draw our bottom baseline. So I drew this a little bit too far from each other in my comfortability, but we'll just draw the line almost to the line, since that's what I said earlier. We'll draw the bottom line. I want this one particularly to be flat. You can also draw it curved as well if you want even a super more rounder eye. For the top lash, I'm gonna thicken it towards the, going towards the right side. So it's gonna get, from the left side, it's gonna get thin to big, and then it'll wrap back down to the point that we made. So it'll still be thick, but we're gonna wrap it right back down to a thin point. But it's gonna be very small. It's not gonna be gradual like the left side. And we'll round it out to where we about want it. You know, you can clean it up as you like through your sketch if you would like to do it then. And then for the eyelashes, depending on if it's a girl or a guy, for guys, I usually don't really add extra eyelashes. I usually just leave it as is, like here. For eyelashes, I kind of just do a very basic taper out. They can be thin, they can be thick, depending on your character. These will be thin just to show the shape. And then sometimes I like to do the ones in the front more towards the left side. These would be a lot thinner and smaller. Again, dependent on your character. If you want them super big and defined, that's totally up to you. But we will do thin and small. Don't forget the eye crease. Also a thin, super line. Zooming into the eye. This is where we can have some fun. We will be drawing the eyeball. So looking straight on, it's gonna be pretty dead set in the middle. Holy shit. And I like to do ovals for this. Some people will just do circles. I feel like that gives off a more of a surprised look, so I go with ovals. If I can get this right. And I like to do a lot of them because sometimes I'm not happy with a lot of the ones that I do. I feel like the tops are too wide. I feel like the bottoms are too small. This one side might be too straight, you know. But I like that one so far. You have some explaining. I spilled it everywhere because I was talking with my mouth full. What? Wait. When did I say that? What do you mean? When did I say that, anime pianist? I have to eat. Eep. Not eat. Bye, Ren and chat. Good luck, everyone. Goodbye, Farron. I love you. So we'll get our basic eye iris. It'll be an oval for today, a quote in Pedro's quote list. I don't remember saying that at all. I'm kind of wondering if maybe someone else said it and they put me. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so from here, we want to draw the pupil, and that'll be dead in the center. This can be a circle depending on your character, or an oval. I'm gonna go with an oval. It looks a little bit more natural. And then we're gonna separate the eye from dark and light. So we'll draw a line that's kind of like a half circle, dividing the top color and the bottom color almost in the half of the eye. I like to do it where the dark color's a little bit more down from the pupil, not directly in the middle, but it's again dependent to you. When I would color this would be the light part at the very bottom, and this would be the dark part. So it would look something like this. We can just use blue. So this would be the dark part, and this would be the light part. And you want these colors, at least in my style, to be pretty different. You don't want them to be too similar, simply just because having a different little bit of variety would show a lot of different like value of color. So once we had that, we would add highlights into the eye. So for the bottom part, that's where most of the highlights are going to be. So I'll choose a super light color of the bottom color. You want this to be super light. You can also just do white if that makes it easier for you. This one I chose a super light blue. Just to kind of keep the color consistent. And then if you want a glare and shine in the top color as well, you would basically just do the same thing. You would find a slightly colored brighter blue from that dark color, and you could also add them to the top as well. So from here, when I do eyes, I would lock this layer to change the color of the line art. So I'll take this dark blue that I have, eyedrop it, make sure you have it, and make it pretty dark. You want this drastically darker than the darkest blue you have in the eye. And take the brush and just color over the line art. So on Paint Tool SAI, you'll find this ability over on the far left with your layers. It's really hard to see because this window is super small, which sucks. But basically above your layers, you'll see these little icons. Above that, you'll see clipping group, and then even above that, you'll see this tiniest checker box next to the word lock. You'll select that on your line art layer, and once you do, you'll be able to color over your line art and just your line art. So it's super fucking helpful. If you can't find that, or you're on something different, you can create a layer above your line art and select clipping group. That'll make it so it's the same thing basically, it's just on a different layer. So you select your color, you're gonna draw on this new layer you just created that is a clipping group. You can see that it is a clipping group because there is a very fluorescent pink line on the very far left of the layer. And then you can just also color over the line art because it's on top of the line art. A clipping group basically means it's just clipping to the layer underneath it. So that's another way that you can color over line art. I know Procreate has both options, so you can be able to do it on there. Photoshop has both options as well. But if you can't find those options, that is another method in coloring your line art. I highly recommend it just because it makes things look a lot less, what's the word? Chunky, I guess. It softens your picture because you kind of have that, again, different value of color kind of showing. So I'm actually gonna make this a little bit darker. The darker the better, because it should separate the colors, but it shouldn't make it super bold, if you get what I'm saying. Hey, I know this song. I also know this song. It's pretty epic. I haven't heard this in a while. Okay. So from there, I would say we could add a couple more highlights to the eye. We're gonna, again, use another super pale blue. And I'm actually gonna draw, oh, forgot to unlock the layer. I'm just gonna draw a little more little color to there. And then we would add our, basically what I would call a lens, like a lens flare to the eye on top of the color, basically. So choose a slightly bigger brush, and we're gonna make a oval-ish. It doesn't have to be like a perfect oval. It could look like a bean. You know, it could look, I can't really do it because it's white. Hold on. You could do like just this typical oval. You could do a circle, you could do a line, you could do a bean, which is what I like to do, kind of just like a fat little bean. You could do a triangle if you really wanted to. You can make this glare look anything like you want. You could do a square too. You could do anything. I like to do bean. So I'm just gonna draw a fat little bean over the eye, and I'll put one at the top, and then I'll draw just a little oval at the bottom, barely protruding into the eye, whereas the top one will. Now, if we had a background, and I'm just gonna color like a gray behind the eye. So if we had a background, aka the skin color would be behind it, we're gonna draw the white behind for the eyeball. And this would only take up the real estate, basically, of the, as far as the black line. So as you can see, this is protruding out from the right side is protruding out from the eyelash. I'm going to erase it until it comes and meets the bottom. You can adjust this by, trying to find the layer. You can adjust this by fixing the eyelash if you would like. Typically I do that sometimes too, to where eventually the point of that eyelash meets the bottom line of the eye. You will probably have to go back and reshape some of the eyelash top of the eye. That's okay. But yeah, you can try and meet the bottom lines together. It's probably preferred just so it doesn't look the eye shape doesn't look too strange. But again, up to you. So we'll round. Oh, I was on the wrong layer. Was I on that? I think I was. Oops. Oh shit. I was on the wrong layer. It's fine. It happens. That's probably like the biggest enemy I have, is being on the wrong layer. It's so sad. Okay. So you'll draw the white of the eye. And that's that. So you can see that the glare of the eye is merging in with the white of the eye. What I like to do is find the layer of your glares and lower the opacity slightly. So it kind of actually looks like it's on top of the eye, which is like a spherical shape, because you don't have hard defined white parts on the eye. You just have where the glare is of the light source within the room, either the sun or your room. And placement doesn't particularly matter. You could have had it over here in the top left and the bottom right. You could have it more in the middle of the eye if you wanted. It's all based on style. And then from here, we would shade the white of the eye. Oops, sorry. Which I like to use the block layer for. What I would pick in terms of color, now I feel like this is the harder part. You can do a light gray there's nothing wrong with that, but typically I like to add a little bit of color when it comes to drawing the shade of the eye. So I go for like this really muted pinkish purple, and it's like super light. So it would look kind of like that. It gives it a bit more color, and it's a little bit more accurate to like, trying to think, like an actual eye, because like when you look at an actual eye, the shading is not defined gray. It has like hints of the pink and red from your eye socket. So I like to make it a little pink, but super pale and super desaturated, if that makes sense. So the color kind of looks like this. I'll give you like a big swatch of it right here. So you can see how it's not white, but it's like not purple gray, if that makes sense. Like one like super purple or super gray. And that I would just curve on the top to the eyelash, because that's where the top lid of your eyeball is. And then sometimes I like to do it on the bottom slightly, depending on the eyeball. You can do it on the bottom if you would like. I particularly do not do it too much on there. And then honestly from there you're pretty much done, unless you want to add more. Some people do like a blurred, or not a blurred, a blended effect in the eye. I'm trying to find out what layer's what. What's color? Okay. Add another layer of color. So they'll add like a blurred effect to make the eye seem like it's got more definition, which is also not a bad idea. I usually use the marker tool for this because you can see how it goes from the light to dark depending on the pressure you put on the pen, which is super nice. For eyes, it's really nice though, because you can go super light and slowly add color depending on how dark you want it to be. So like I barely pressed on the eye and I got these really nice faint colors. I'm trying to see if I can see. I got this really nice faint translucent blue, so it's not hard. It's not a hard solid color like this arrow. You can see through it, so you can see the colors behind it. That's one way, again, to do eyeballs. If you wanted to draw a more masculine eye, or more of a like a, is tsundere the word? More of a like a serious eye, I guess. I don't think tsundere is the right word. That's pretty easy. Most of these are flatter in shape, more like a rectangle, some sort of parallelogram. But basically you're just drawing slightly curved lines, again, not so much circled like we did last time. You're gonna draw the top lash as well, and then again have it go from thin to thick. And then from the thick side, we're gonna bring it down slightly as a slightly curved line again, but jut it down so it has a nice point. Same thing on this side, but you're gonna go in the same direction as the other side. So, just make sure they're not going, one's going inward and one's going inward the other way. We're gonna try to keep them the same way. And then for the bottom, this would be good for the straight line bottom eye. I would not recommend using a curved one, again, unless that is the style of eye you're going for. Again, depends. More for serious characters, I like to use the line, and then kind of bring it up to the bottom of the point of the top lash that I just created. And the eye wouldn't be a full circle like we just did last time. It's actually going to be quite a bit of a half circle. So you can see how the expression pretty much changes almost immediately. And along with the pupil as well, not the whole pupil is not going to show. You draw the crease of the eye as well. And this is a more relaxed expression, because that's what the eyebrow would look like, essentially, like at the top. And then from there you would color it just about the same. We could do a fun little red eye. Oh, is that black? So we could do a fun little red eye. Super light. For these kind of serious eyes, I don't do the bean as much. I kind of just do a really thin oval and then maybe a quick line on the other side to compensate for the one we did before. And then again, for the outline, a super dark red for this one. I'm gonna do the lock layer or clipping group to color the line art, and we're just gonna color the eyeball. Don't color the lashes. And the pupil. I'm actually gonna make it a tiny bit darker. Awesome. And then again, for the back, you would just do, you know, the white. Oh shit. Wrong layer. You would do the white. Which you can't really see because and then from there again, you would take the very faint pinky off gray and draw it at the top line. For here, I would kind of have it come down to the bottom, just because the bottom and the top of the eye are a little bit closer than the rounded eye that we did at the top. But you can feel it out, you know, you can determine where you want that shadow of the eye to be. Trying to think of another eye. These are the two most common. We could do another one. Let's add a back. 'Cause I've been needing to add these backs. So we'll do one more eye to give you another variation. You could do more of a I don't even know what shape you'd call this. I'm losing vocab for shapes and I'm losing my mind. More of like some sort of like pentagon shape where it's not round, but it's not super squinted. So for this one, you have a lot of different angles and sides of the eye. You're gonna copy the technique from this eye to do the parallel slanting same direction of the sides of the eye. But for this part, it's gonna be a little different for the top because it looks a little different. But essentially, you're gonna kind of do the same thing. So for right here, it's gonna be super thin, and then we're gonna go bigger over here. But once you get to the end right here, you're gonna kind of just connect the two. And then what I would do from here is try to make it as thin as you can as well. So kind of like this top one, kind of like the one above it, but we just added an extra corner to the eye. We didn't do it as flat. And then I'm actually gonna fix this. We're gonna make this a little bit more rounder, so it's a little bit of like a mixed eye. Perfect. Eye crease. And then for this one, we're gonna have the eyeball slightly hidden, but not entirely. I'm gonna redrill it. slightly hidden, but not entirely. Draw the pupil in the middle. Perfect. And then we're gonna color it. We're gonna do... I'm trying to think. Let's do green. It's a very fluorescent green. But it's okay. It's kind of cool. So like before, I'm adding the light and dark eye color and then a super light eye color as the glares. I add a little bit more of like a whiter, almost white color glare to the eye as I like. I'm gonna add a couple extras at the top. Then we're gonna color the back of the eye. Again, you wanna make sure the white is not doing what I did up here, going outside. You want to make sure it follows the black lines. We're gonna do lines for both of these glares. And then for the shade, this one is gonna come down to the bottom, and then this one's just gonna come to the bottom of that top eyelash to give a little bit more definition. And then we color the line art to make it look epic and cool. Awesome. And there you go, you have another different shape of the eye. So, trying to think of a way to explain overall is, for eyes, it's all about the shape that you want. And if you are unsure about the shape of eye that you want in particular, draw the shape that you want it to be. So if you want it to be a rectangle, draw a rectangle. And then just work your way around it. So this would be that point over here, this part, and then you'll use the top of the rectangle to kind of line out a soft curve and bring it down in. And then you can use the bottom of the rectangle as a guide for the bottom eyelash. You can draw the other angle that goes in, and then your eyeball. Very epic. If you want a circle or an oval, did not draw that very well. Just draw a circle, and honestly, if you want, you could just slightly cheat. I don't know why this eraser isn't working. And just like erase the middle part, and then go from there. You can mold the top. Of your circle, and then for this one, you would kind of just draw like a parallelogram, so that fun little shape that goes like this. The slanted rectangle, as I like to call it back in school. So you'll do that, round off the top, have it come back in, and then the bottom you can curve or keep a line. The slanted rectangle side will be the indent back in. And there you go. You're already off to a fantastic start. So that's eyeballs. Just remember, eyeballs are literally shapes. Very simple geometric shapes. They are nothing more, nothing less. It is easy once you get the hang of it. Coloring, I can definitely understand when it gets to that point, because you don't know how to do like the coloring like we did. But the coloring I showed you was a very simple method, and it'll get you far. Once you feel like you've kind of honed that, you can adjust it to your liking. You know, you can mess around with it dependent on what you think works best. There's a lot of other online artists that give you step-by-steps of their eyes, but obviously some of them are a little bit more advanced than others, especially when the eyes are a lot of rendering and using a lot of layer filters, which that is a whole different lesson to try and get into. But that's the short little thing on eyeballs. Hopefully that helped for those who need eyes. I'm realizing how much we didn't do, and I've been doing this already for an hour and a half, but it is what it is. This was must what teaching college is like. You have like 3 hours and you're trying to figure out what the fuck to do. Let's see. Let's see what else. Trying to think. What else can we touch on? I know fingers is, or hands, I guess, is another one that we should get into. Trying to think on exactly if I want to start with hands or if I want to start with something else. Let me just double check. Gotta check the server. Okay, I think we can just go straight to hands. I'm gonna save coloring and blending for another day, because coloring is a whole different monster. And to be honest with you, Diane, I'm not entirely confident in too much coloring because I do a more of a cell shade, which is hard line coloring. Rendering is kind of out of my specialty, but I can show you how I do it when I need to. It's nothing special, it's nothing great. So just anyone who wants that, be prepared for very mediocre work on that. It is not the best. Okay. So for hands as well, it is also shapes. Let's keep that in mind. The best way to do hands is to draw this little diagram of the hand you want. So if we're doing just a flat hand, we're gonna draw another parallelogram, but it's gonna look long on the top, go in on the sides, and then short on the bottom. So it looks like a little rhombus, kind of, whatever you want to call that shape. Parallelogram, odd square, whatever you want to call it. So we're gonna start with that. So the fingers are gonna come from the more wide end of this shape, and then the wrist is where it's smaller or more funneled in. When we're drawing a hand out with the fingers, which is definitely the hardest part, I don't even get it right every time. I have to draw hands for a while before I get them looking good. So the hands that you see in my drawing, trust me, I spent a long time just getting the sketch to look right of the hands, because I can't do them too well either. Sometimes I kind of get lazy. So for this one, we're gonna do the right hand. From the bottom of this shape, we're going to jut out from the bottom and go up slightly and do a small little curve, because fingers are not entirely straight. I want to keep that in mind. Don't draw your fingers super straight. It doesn't look too natural, but if it's super hard for you right at the beginning, you know, doing straight lines isn't such a terrible idea. Just make sure that they're not boxed off and crazy. Like, this looks a little weird, but if you're still trying to learn, that's an easy shortcut to go around. Because when you try to do bent ones, you can just do basic bends like so, if you just wanted to do a small bend. But if we're trying to get a little bit more shape and detail to these fingers, for our right hand, we're gonna do a small little curve here, a slight diagonal line up slightly, and another small curve at the top. This is the thumb. We're then going to round off the top, come back down, and pretty much just follow what we did on the other side, but we're not gonna connect it. We're gonna connect it to the shape, sorry. So from there, this line now, the diagonal, is going to be the start of our pointer finger. Yo, what's up, Joe? I'm teaching, dog. I'm teaching. I'm trying to teach at least. Hands are really hard for me, so the teaching might not be too good. How are you, man? But yes, so this diagonal line is going to be the start of our pointer finger. And so we're going to start pretty straight here. We're going to draw a line that's slightly pointed inward. This way, inward. And then again, slightly inward. But a slightly little bit longer. We're going to curve the top. Oh, sorry. We're going to curve the top. And then we're going to come back out. And then back in. But not in as much. Almost straight. So that is our pointer finger. And then for the rest of the fingers, if we're doing them kind of spread out, you're just gonna leave a little bit room in between these two fingers. And then just do the same thing over again. So a slightly diagonal line, slightly diagonal line in. Oops. A little bit too far away from the... And then remember that these fingers are going to be taller. So the middle finger right here is the tallest. On most people, I would hope. And then we do the next one. And mind you, when you get to the end, if this side is way too wide, just cut it down. I think I made it too wide, so just make your parallelogram thinner if that is the case, if it gets a little bit too wide for the hand. But you're just gonna rinse and repeat until you get all of the fingers. Index finger is slightly shorter most of the time, depending on the hand. And then your pinky finger, very small, very baby. So once we're done with the fingers, I know these are really rough. Like I said, I don't even know fingers half the time, so take this with a grain of salt as well. Once you guys do this, you're just gonna round it out on this side. So it's not gonna be the straight line like it was on the other side. When you bring this back from the pinky and connect it to the wrist, you'll just do like a nice curved S or a soft curve, nothing hard. And then bring it to the wrist, which will be tapered in, and then your arm will be somewhere down here. So once you clean up this sketch, it should... Why is this eraser not working sometimes? It should look something like this. I'm gonna erase all these lines and it's gonna look like shit. But I warned you. Yeah, it's it's rough, but it's the basic shapes. And then once you get the basic shape down, you can mess with it however you would like. So that's the right hand. Again, literally missing the segment I requested. That's crazy. It's okay, Ricky. I literally said at the beginning of this segment that I'm not the best at hands. As you can see on screen, that is probably the shittiest fucking hand I've ever drawn. But it's okay. We're not done. This is just one one hand of a couple that I will be planning on drawing, so you're all good. No worries, my guy. But yes. So here's a hand. It is kind of bad, I won't lie, but also, I'm just sketching. So if we're doing a slightly different angle of hand, let's use the right hand again. Let's say we have it slightly turned. We're gonna draw that same parallelogram, but we're gonna make it even thinner. Even thinner. And then we're gonna make it three-dimensional. So draw it like it has dimensions. Awesome. Should look like a cowbell or a slice of cheese without the tip. My chicken fingers are beautiful. The fuck you mean? They're okay. If you look at these compared next to my actual hands that I do in my finish artworks, it's laughable. It's okay. Like, I was gonna say that, at the end of this segment, like, I rely heavily on references. Specifically, I'll always look up hand, like sketch hand references on, like, Google, DeviantArt, Pinterest, whatever, Twitter. And sometimes I'll use them as reference to do it myself, and then keep erasing where I can refine, or if I'm super lazy, I will trace them if it's the exact pose I need. There is a cheat that I have for Procreate if you're using Procreate. If it's traditional, I highly recommend the references. For Procreate, they actually have a bunch of brushes that you can download from other people that pretty much just hand stamp onto your canvas, and then you can use that as a sketch. For traditional art, I simply just recommend, well, either looking at it from your computer or your phone, or if you're have accessibility to a printer, you print it out really big. And then you can trace it, or you can have it right there next to you, and you can put it right next to your sketch and have a closer reference. Tracing for this kind of stuff is not frowned upon. I want that to be very clear. Tracing helps, like, improve skill. It gets your motor functions, memorizing strokes, and basic muscle memory. Holy fuck. So just want to make that very clear for anybody who is starting to draw, wanting to draw, already drawing but nervous about it. Tracing is fine as long as you do not claim it to be your own. If you trace an image line for line though, that is frowned upon, and then claiming it as your own. Like if I drew, let's say, I don't know. Let's say Markiplier was an anime character. If I took a screenshot from that anime and drew it line for line and colored it really shitty and nothing was really changed about it, and you can kind of tell it's like all clean artwork, that's not good. Don't do that. If I took the screenshot and just traced the pose but made it a different character, maybe moved an arm or two, or like had a different hand position, or facial structure and facial expression, that's okay, because you changed everything and you were just referencing the pose. You weren't copying the character, you weren't copying the background. It's when you copy verbatim is when tracing is frowned upon, in my opinion. I think tracing helps people. I think it's very beneficial for learning and creating that muscle memory. Plus, once you trace enough, in terms of, like, let's say hands especially, I've traced a good amount of hands in my lifetime. I have muscle memory for certain poses that I can do with such confidence. There are others, though, that I'm extremely weak on, as Exhibit A on screen is. I'm not very good with a head-on hand. I'm very good at angled ones. At least in certain poses. I'm gonna say that really quick with a caveat. So I highly recommend, especially for hands, use references. I cannot stress that enough. But yeah, if you want to save like an arsenal of references on like your phone, your computer, highly recommend it. Same thing goes with poses too. I would recommend if you're referencing a pose though, you try to change it a little bit. Maybe like move the arms a little bit, or the legs, or the head. Maybe you have it at a different angle, and then of course reference that you're using a pose from XYZ, or you got it from DeviantArt or something, and then say who it's from. If you're, worried about the whole copying thing. Crediting is always a good thing, especially if you're not quite sure if like it's good or bad, just to cover your ass essentially. So enough of that. But that's what I would recommend for hands, especially, is tracing. So like if my little tidbit here does not help you, I recommend tracing as your backup. It is hard sometimes to find the hand that you need, but trust me, with enough digging, you will find every angle of the hand you need eventually, even if it's from someone's finished artwork and it's not just like a reference sheet of sketched hands. You can use those as well. Those are definitely helpful as well. So for an angled hand like this, I usually start with the palm because it's the easiest thing to do. So the bottom of this free shape, you're gonna make a nice soft S like we've done last time with the hair. So this bubbled part is the palm of the hand. You're gonna make this as cushiony as possible. Again, it is the palm of the hand. It do be kind of chunky sometimes. For this one, we want it a little prominent. And then remember, this is where the wrist is. Here on the bottom right. So from here, having this as the right hand, again, thumb will be on this side, so I'm actually going to erase a little bit. And we're going to do the same thing like we did last time, where we curve it out a little bit, draw a small diagonal, and then curve it out again. Slightly longer than the one connecting to the palm. Curve the top, and then keep curving it back in to create the digits of the thumb. And we're not going to connect it to anything, just because we need to draw the next finger. So again, you're going to start almost with a straight line. I like to slightly curve it ever so slightly. I'm actually going to fix this. Because of the angle, the pointer finger is going to be a little more prominent, and the thumb is going to hide behind it. From here, we'll do another digit, so we'll do a slightly smaller curve with a slight bend. And then another really tiny one, and then start curving this back in. And a nice gentle curve back in. Now, if you want to clean this up, which I always recommend, you don't want these angles to be super defined unless you want a more blocky art style. So you want to keep everything nice and soft, nice and flowy. So there is your pointer finger. Next, I will shorten this line. It's gone a little bit too far. We'll do the middle finger. From here, we will draw the little webbing that we have in between our fingers. Is like a nice little tiny U. The best I can describe it, like a nice little whoop, little whoop. And then we'll do the same thing like we did with the pointer. Do a nice gentle curve, another gentle curve with a small indent, and then again a really small curve with a indent. Curve up the top, and then a slight curve back down into the hand. And then again, mold it to how you like it more. And then we move on to the index finger, which is just about as high for some people on their hand as well. And this time, because it's a little bit closer to the middle finger, I'm gonna actually start with the back curve, round it off, and then slowly bring it down to where it connects with the middle finger. Because we don't have to draw the space separation in between these fingers because they're close enough at this angle that you can't see it. So that is what it would look like for the index finger. Fix it again. And then the pinky finger we can have close or we can have it far. I'm gonna do it close again. So we're actually gonna take this baseline from this parallelogram base of our hand, and we're gonna follow that again as a slight curve up to the pinky. Oh, I mean, I'm actually gonna have it a little far away. I'm not gonna have it touching. So we're gonna do another little, even smaller U for the webbing between the hands, the space. Curve it at the top, and remember, a pinky is very thin, but it gets thicker at the bottom. So once it gets towards the base of the hand, you're gonna make it a little bit more wide. So your hand will now look like this. Sorry, I have the sensitivity on high on my pen, so erasing is a little harder. Or slower. Yeah, so... Oop, I didn't mean to do that. I actually got rid of the webbing. That was, like, defeats the whole purpose of that. Perfect. So that is our hand, and of course, fix it to your liking. Like some of these fingers, in my opinion, are a little too chonk and a little too straight. So like this middle finger, I think I'd widen it a little more. And erase to make it set wider. And same thing for the pointer finger. I just think the line's too chunky, that's probably why. Awesome. And then I'm just gonna erase our shape that we have. And then if you really want to get like super detailed, again, you do not have to. But if you want to add these like little extra details as well, you can add the little knuckle bumps on the hand. You don't have to if you have a more simpler style. I would probably recommend not doing it if you're still trying to get hands. But around the pinky, you would just add a small, a little too much. Just a little bump. Just a really tiny bump. And then for the bottom ones, you would draw like a little, slightly angled, like open, really open greater than sign, if that makes sense. And you would just do those for most of the fingies. Of course, placement's different, just because y'all have different fingers, dog. But don't place them too far down on the hand. Like, this finger's kind of down a little bit further than I would like, so make it a little shorter. Put the line there. You can connect it to one of the lines of the fingers as well. I wouldn't say that's a bad idea either. You can soften some if you don't want them too defined. Thank you, nice fingies. And yeah, so, and then the wrist would be down here, and it actually kind of makes a perfect shape, which is funny, I think, for like a sleeve. So if you wanted the person to have a sleeve. Perfect. So that's what that would look like if it's angled slightly towards the right side of your hand. Bends are honestly probably the easiest thing, I would think. at least for me, I think bends are easier. I need another drink of water. Okay. Oh. So actually, you know what? Oh shit. I can actually kind of cheat because I kind of running out of time. But that was honestly expected. So I'm gonna take the hand we just did. So this is gonna be another version. We're gonna do bend fingers. Fist would probably be the easiest one. I'm gonna do 2 actually. So we can do 2. I just wanted to make sure this was on the right layer. I don't know what the hell I was doing there. Okay. So the doing a closed fist is super easy, so we're gonna do that one first. So pretty much, we're gonna erase. Well, I guess I shouldn't copy actually, because I have to show the different shapes of the hands. I'm so sorry. We're gonna do it from scratch, because that's what a good teacher would do. So for a closed fist, we're gonna do a shorter parallelogram. So we'll do something like that. Whereas the other one we had super thin, okay? This is the one on the top is the one we had. The one on the bottom is what we need. I will erase that for room. Okay. So from there, again, you're gonna make it 3D because we're gonna have it angled from the right. So you'll draw the different angled parts so it shows dimension. And then we will continue from here. So for the pinky, you're just gonna pretty much draw a small line here and a small line here. And then we're gonna make a basic shape from this. So a fist has your hand come down into your palm. So we're gonna make the little scoop for the palm. And pretty much you're just gonna draw a fun little hat. So you'll just draw a nice rectangle. And then from here as well, you're gonna draw a nice rectangle. And then connect them before they get too far away. Because they will go far enough that they won't connect eventually. So you should have something like this. I don't know if I explained that super well. So you'll have your parallelogram, and essentially what you're making is a shape like this. You're gonna draw a rectangle on top, angling upwards, a parallelogram connected to the right side of the rectangle, and then another parallelogram acting as the thumb there. Nice art. Would be a shame if someone farted. Thanks! Thanks, Ben. You're ruining it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. God damn it. So, use this shape as your basic reference for your fist. I don't know how to explain it any better because shapes. Whoops. Okay. From here, you've already got one finger pretty much set, and it's very nice to have. For the thumb, though, it is going to be a little difficult. This would be great for the left hand, as the thumb, you'd pretty much just draw a nice scoop as well. So that would be the thumb, and this would be the pinky. So we would make this a little bit shorter, because it is the pinky, and then from here, you could just draw lines to place the fingers. So there's the pinky finger, here's the index finger, middle finger, and then pointer finger, and then you have the thumb. From there, you would pretty much just shape out the curves, so you would just kind of curve everything out and make sure it's got curves. You don't want super sharp lines for the hands, but if it helps you easier, then perfect. For the pinky, it wouldn't just be resting there. It'd be more clenched into the palm, so you would make a sharper turn. Like this. And then palm. It kind of look like this, essentially. Again, I'm not the best, but that's a simple way to do a fist. And then again, if you want to add the details, you can, of the knuckles on the hands. The knuckles would be a slightly little higher, just because of how the positioning is. So I would draw really soft ones for this one, though. And then for the thumb, you want to connect it to the whole hand. So the lines into the hand would not be connected. It'd be something like that. And getting rid of your guidelines. Would look something like that. I actually think the... Oop. Why is this? I'm actually having trouble. There we go. I lied. Your wrist would be here, and then whatever shirt you have. That's a simple way to do a fist. It's not perfect, but it would get the job done. Of course, if you have it at an angle where it's like straight on, you pretty much would just connect these two. And then so you would have a fist like this. This is if you wanted a more face onward of a fist. It would look slightly different from this. This is not the best example, but if you wanted a more head on to the back of the hand, that's what it would look like. Now, bent fingers. Let's do this one, and then we will call it here. Trying to think of a pose we could do for bent fingers. Trying not to think of a hard one. I was gonna do like an okay sign, but I feel like that's super hard. Good question. Let's do pen holding. So for a pen holding position, the shape's going to be quite different. We can start with our parallelogram, and we're going to hold the pen like this. So this line is our pen. Parallelogram is our hand. So for the pen, what I personally would do is I would draw a rectangle here for the thumb, and then I would draw another rectangle, but start going down angled, and then continue with 4 others. Obviously gauge the size depending on the finger, and the height or length, I mean. And then you kind of have that basic shape. From here of the rectangle with the thumb that we have at the top, you're gonna curve in and curve out a very loose S as the palm, and then we're gonna do a nice curve where the pen would be, as your palm coming in. At the bottom of our parallelogram, we'll do the same thing with a small s. So go back in and out. Keeping the pen in mind, by the way. From the rectangles that we have with the fingers, we're gonna also come back in as so, because they are bent in, holding the pencil. Mind you, the pencil's gonna be wide. It's not gonna be just the line, so the fingers will meet with the pencil. So from this shape, I'm going to lower the opacity, put another layer on. So from here, let us draw the pencil. And then we will work around the pencil. Working around objects is my preferred way to draw hands, especially if you're holding something. So for a pencil, it's perfect. And then I will lower the opacity slightly on the pencil, just so we can still see the hand sketch. So we'll start with the thumb. So we'll start with the small S curve, and then curve up for the roundness of the thumb, angle down slightly, and then angle inward back towards the palm, curve the top for the tip, and then curve back inwards. You can add another one going back in, but I particularly choose not to. Going to the pointer fingers and all the other fingers now. We're gonna connect it to the rest of the hand right here. Oh shit. And for this I'll actually hide the pen. Not all the way out to the knuckle of the thumb. We're gonna move it quite into the first or second indent of the thumb. Connect the finger. Curve for the knuckle. Bring it back down, slight curve outwards, so like this. And then back in, so back in. And we're actually going to hide the tip of the pointer finger because our thumb is going to be on top of it. And then right here, most of the pen's going to hide this, but for right now, I just want to show you where it would be. Where the finger bends on the inside, you're just going to curve it the same way that you curve the one on the outside. Oh, shit. Forgot if I bring my pen far away enough, it doesn't actually switch the pen. And then we're gonna pretty much rinse and repeat for the other fingers, just slighter change in terms of the angles or curves. So for this next one, we're gonna do the knuckle again. We're gonna curve outward this time. So we're gonna go this way instead of the other way. And then we're gonna go back in again, going back in. So like a nice curve, but with slight angles. And that'll be the middle finger. And then once again, curve the knuckle, out again just like the middle finger, in again just like the middle finger, and then we're actually gonna curve off the top of the finger. And then lastly, the pinky, curve the top of the knuckle. We're gonna be a smaller one this time because remember the pinky is very small and thin. Curve out again just like the last two fingers. Curve in just like the last two fingers, and then draw the curve of the top. Now the show definition of the knuckles, I like to just add these like little small swoops of lines to show the knuckles and where the difference is of each knuckle. You don't have to do this as well. This is just something I like to do. And then for the bottom of the palm, another small S and taper it back, almost connecting it pretty much to the other one that we have towards the thumb. And then we're gonna bring back the pen, and then I will simply just erase the hand underneath to show what is being covered and what is not. So this is the part of pencil. Oops, shit. Is being covered. I erased a line I shouldn't have. And there's one line of the hand that will just go to the top. that's what it would be like to hold the pencil, and then I have the little muscle for the palm, and then of course your wrist, wherever it be. There's your pencil. Obviously everyone holds a pencil differently. This guy seems to have a monkey grasp, so again, it depends. The further you bend your fingers in, or the further you bend them out, obviously it'll change the way that the pencil is being held. Some people have their fingers more relaxed instead of this dug into their palm. So in that point, you would pretty much just bring these out a little bit further. I'll mark these in red, hold on. You would just bring these fingers out a little bit more, so instead of being so dug in, you would have them curve out at the second one. So instead of curving over the second one, you'll curve back the other way, the opposite way, and bring them back in, and then the same thing pretty much applies to the rest of them. The middle finger and the index finger would be the ones that you pretty much just draw one fluid line, because they would be mostly straight. Obviously I drew all these fucking fingers the same length, so let's just forget about that one. And then the pencil would rest on some of these fingers as well if they are more of a laxed hold. So you would have some of these fingers, fingertips hidden, while the two on the top are probably the most prominent. Or the index finger on the top would be the more prominent finger. I think that would actually be the only one showing. That's actually the way I hold my pencil. So it would look something more like this. So it'd look a little bit more like that. Or at least the pointer finger is coming out more, but the rest of the fingers are still hugging the pencil pretty tight. Yeah, that's probably funny enough, the easier one to do, because it's pretty much just doing curves. And not necessarily having to draw like pretty straight lines to draw certain fingers, I guess. Got the sketchbook out. We're hanging on by a thread. I'm kidding. What else could we do? Trying to think of like another hand I can maybe do. I am slowly running out of ideas because I'm slowly running out of steam. Erase. Nice sketchbook. Would be a shame. I swear to God, Ben. So that's the couple hands we did. Oh, bye, Rainbow. Thanks for coming by. It's okay, we're about to finish up here anyway. I gotta go to bed soon for work. But here's the couple versions of different hands. It's really funny that you can see that the one with the pencil seems to be the best one that I've drawn. I'm gonna be completely honest. All the other ones are kind of mediocre. But the tip for hands, other than what I drilled in before with references, is just remember that these are pretty much just like one shape, just drawn different sizes and connected to each other. So you're pretty much just drawing different kinds of rectangles with different kinds of like ends being one thicker, one thinner, or one smaller, one bigger, and then connecting it to like another rectangle or parallelogram, if you want to call it that. And then just like doing different angles and bending them and connecting them different ways. It's probably best if you draw them like that as shapes rather than trying to do the curves quite right away. So I would recommend drawing like the rectangles attached to each other and stuff. So it'd be like down at the bottom. Hold on. So I would recommend like you draw like a square at first for the, instead of a parallelogram if you have a hard time trying to figure out if you need to, how far you need to angle in. You could also do that as well, draw the square and then draw it angled in like I just did. And then for fingers, you just draw rectangles that get a little bit smaller towards the top, and you just keep going. Obviously change the length of these fingers, but that's pretty much what I would do when I was still learning fingers. Is I just drew each digit of the finger as a rectangle, and then once I wanted to do line art, that's when I did like the curves and stuff for the finger and whatnot. You know, I can kind of just bullshit a hand really quick. But yeah, so I recommend that. Just imagining a hand as all rectangles. It's pretty much your surefire way of getting easy and simple hands. Then you can round out later. That'll come later. Once you get the basic shapes, pretty much of like everything that we've talked about, everything will come in due time. Like I said, especially for eyes, just rinse and repeat hands. So draw one again, draw it again, and kind of refine it every time you do it. So if you want to refine one, let's say we drew this one right here, this angled one. Let's say this is the first one I drew. Don't erase and refine it. Draw another one and then do the changes you would have on that one, and then take that again, draw it again with more refining. Because again, a lot of drawing is rinse and repeat. There's no shortcut really to any of this, which kind of sucks. But if you are fairly serious about drawing or want to get slightly better into where your skill is at now, just keep drawing. It'll come to you. References, tracing, those are going to be your best friends, really. And of course, you know, you can look at other people's methods, ask people how they do things, certainly, ask questions. It's always nice to get different advice from other people because there's different ways of doing things. So necessarily the things that I've talked about and explained might not work for you, but it might work for someone else. You may need to ask a different artist, we all kind of take things differently. So I hope this first session wasn't too bad. We can talk about coloring and other things later. I kind of wanted to come prepared with like things already drawn and stuff, but my day was so busy that I had to just do it on the fly, which probably was good and bad. I have no idea. I did want to come with like some pre-made bases just to like show you, but it is what it is. Coloring next time though would be pretty simple just because I don't really have to draw anything per se other than mash some colors together, show you how to shade them a little bit, talk to you about light sources and stuff. And then we could also talk about any other drawing features that we didn't touch today. But yeah, hopefully that helped you guys today. Hopefully it was entertaining enough. Hopefully it was understandable enough because I had never done this before. So we'll enjoy going back to rewatch the stuff later. I should have been fully engaged. I think the from scratch lecture wasn't at all that intimidating. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I don't really teach art. I haven't really had people ask me like how to do things really too often, so it's kind of really new to me. explaining things is kind of hard. So I hope I did an okay job. Of course, like, if you guys have any questions, you guys are more than welcome to ask me in the Discord server, and like I can draw you an example really quick, or I can add it to the next time we might want to do something with this, and then I can focus on it a little bit more, maybe write something out so then I know how to explain it a lot better. So like how Bob Ross always starts his episode with a blank canvas. Yeah, that's so true though. But yeah, so hopefully over time I'll be able to maybe refine something like this if people want more drawing, learning to draw things. It's kind of hard also too when like the way I draw is a much simplified version than maybe other people who have like more complex drawing, so it's kind of hard to like say like this is the way to do it when like my style is completely different to other people. So again, take all of my advice with a grain of salt. Hone it to your style, you know, alter it as much as you need. Don't don't follow me to a T, you know, like that's art. It's all about modifications. But with that, I will head out of here. It is a little late. I actually ended, I'm actually ending a little bit sooner than I wanted, so that is epic. I can relax and before bed and stuff, so I hope you guys had a good time today. Thank you so much for coming. I'm glad a good handful of you actually stuck around, which is really epic. I hope that the ones who really wanted to stay here got enough knowledge, hopefully, to maybe help a little better. I'd love to see what you guys draw after this, for sure. Like if there's any doodles that you did today or are gonna do after today, send them in the Discord. I want to see. But yeah, I will see you guys maybe tomorrow. I'm gonna try. Streaming's been hard. I started a second job, so we chillin'. But yeah, I'll see you guys soon. I hope you had a good time, and this will be uploaded to YouTube. I don't know how long it's gonna take because it is a super long stream, but I will try my hardest to get it on stream. If anything, I will I will have the file for anybody who wants it, and I will send it to you somehow. But alright guys, I will see you. Love you all. Good night, sleep well, sweet dreams. Mwah. Bye bye!